What are there in the way of warm and bright colours that you can grow through May carrying on into June? Well, here is just a wonderful selection. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. In the sort of middle of May going on into June, there are some fabulous bright colours out there that you just lifts your heart, because we've had grey springs maybe. This year, no, it hasn't been. We've had quite a lot of bright sunshine. But you do need bright, warm colours to help with your borders. And what could not be better than the wonderful family that is Geum. Now I'm going to start with the Geums first. The oldest of the varieties of Geums that I've got here is one called Mandarin. Now you can see with the ones that I have got, if I just put them tight together, how different all of the actual colours of the flowers and the shapes of the flowers are. So isn't that a wonderful mix of really beautiful, bright and soft colours? This is the oldest variety. This is Mandarin. This is the next one that was or quite new breeding. This is Geum Totally Tangerine, and then newer breeding still, this one here, which is Fiery Tempest. So to be able to talk about them all individually, I will start with the one that is the oldest breeding, and that one is this one here, the beautiful Mandarin. Now Mandarin has really incredible, large, semi-double, frilly, beautiful orange mandarin coloured flowers. It really is a superb form. Now you can see its habit very well in this container. It should actually be in the ground, bless it, this one, it needs to get out of this container. It has this lovely soft V shape, so it's just going out slightly. Some of the stems will start off going upright, but then they will all come out to the middle. It has a beautiful centre here, really good green foliage at the bottom there. You have got older stems still flowering well, older stems right the way through, and then you've got some lovely younger ones here. Now it repeat blooms a bit, but not as much as the newer varieties or the newer hybrids. It is worth putting in your garden. It is such a super plant. This lovely dark stem colour here goes with the flower tone as well. So as the flowers start, they're quite a brighter colour, so they're quite bright, and then as they start to go over, they will fade slightly, but it's not a huge amount of fading, so you don't get an awful lot of two-tone on this, which you can on some of the other forms of Geum that you get, but I do like this one. You can lift, divide, do basal cuttings from this particular plant. So if you enjoy doing propagation, why not have a little look at our propagation course that we have, because it will help you, show you how you can do those basal cuttings, how you can do the divisions, and what time of year you should be doing it. Take a look at the propagation course. But this is a fabulous plant, Geum Mandarin, lovely soft orange mandarin colours, I suppose, you know. It's a really beautiful thing. So this one is going to be a maximum of 2.5 feet, maybe 50-55 centimetres with the flower height, foliage and size of the plant at the base, somewhere around about 15 to 18 inches, 40 to 45 centimetres. So it's a good front of border, lovely warm orange colour. Moving on to the Totally Tangerine, and you can see a completely different habit. Totally Tangerine is much more upright, although it goes outwards slightly, far more upright than Mandarin was. The flowers are slightly smaller, and you do get two-tone on this. They're not as large, they're not as frilly, but you get abundance on these. Totally Tangerine does change colour, so it starts off quite peachy, then it goes slightly more orange, and then it fades to, and it fades quite nicely. You know, you have quite a difference there in the two colours, and you get a bit of two-tone effect on it. Now, I didn't say when you are deadheading these, it's not deadheading and taking off the individual. I mean, the flower petals will fall off and you'll get left with these dead heads. They don't look horrible and ugly. So you wait until the whole stem has flowered and cut it off down into the bottom there. This is going to get a lot taller. This is going to get anywhere between 2.5 and 3 feet. So anywhere from 75 centimetres to 1 metre high. Sometimes it can be bigger, and it does rebloom if it's in the correct conditions. If you're in very hot countries, it doesn't always rebloom, but you might find you get a good blooming early on, and then it will look a bit tired. If you give it a cut back, it will then rebloom later in the season once it's got cooler again. But it is a fabulous form. It's sterile, it won't seed around, so this one you would take a few basal cuttings from. Geum, totally tangerine. Width-wise at the bottom, no more than 18 inches, 45 centimetres. Then the beautiful fiery Tempest, which is one in a series of breeding bred by a lady up in Scotland, and these ones are fabulous. Again, we've gone back to a much more larger, frilly, semi-double flower than totally tangerine, and again we've gone to this outward habit. This one stays at just under 2 feet, so somewhere around about the 50 centimetres, and then it doesn't make a huge clump, it's just a short clump here. As you can see, this is a dead stem, this is completely finished flowering. You don't notice it, but it is helpful if you take them off into the centre there. Lovely colour on this, so this is Geum Fiery Tempest. Again, this open habit, front of the border. So of those, you've got the Mandarin, which is front to the middle, Geum Totally Tangerine middle to the back, and then the Fiery Tempest more at the front. Let's move on to some yellows now, and there are some beautiful soft yellows that you can see at the moment, and this one is fabulous. This is Papaver cambrica. Used to be Mecanopsis cambrica. This is the Welsh poppy. Now the Welsh poppy can range from being quite bright yellow to this yellow, which has got a lovely orange tip to it. If I turn the reverse of the flower like so, there is a lovely orange hue to that, to an orange colour. And they set seed pods very, very quickly, and they seed around. Brilliant for shady spots, brilliant for naturalising, underneath hedges, underneath trees and shrubs. This is a wonderful woodlander. They don't get huge as an individual plant, and they don't live much more than, say, 4 to 5 years as an individual plant. But because they self-seed around and it's easy to take those seedlings out, this is a fabulous one, and it is lovely warm colours, really beautiful, lovely big poppy flowers on here, lovely 4 petals, really fabulous thing. Mecanopsis, no, Papaver cambrica, the Welsh poppy. So that is beautiful. Then you've got something like this. This is a Potentilla, typical Potentilla or strawberry-like leaf on this. 2 ticks, I forgot to say how tall this one was going to get. So the Welsh poppy is going to be around about a foot high, 30 centimetres, at the base about 10 inches, that is 40, no it isn't, that is 20 centimetres, okay, so 20 centimetres by 30 centimetres high, sorry. This one, Potentilla megalantha, covered in these beautiful big yellow flowers. It's early in the morning, it has not opened up and woken up yet. So these flowers are going to open right out, and they will be, if I can turn the petals back a bit on this, you can see how big they are. There we go. So it's a really super large petaled form. It closes up at night. You get these wonderful, this is covered in dead heads as well, not that you'd notice, it's covered in lots of flower. It makes a huge big plant, somewhere around about 45 centimetres round, lovely fluffy foliage, so it'll take a slightly drier condition. Flowers and flowers and flowers. And it can come from seed, or you can divide it. Not much taller than, say, 20 centimetres, 10 inches high, but it's going to be wider, but always covered in these lovely flowers. So it lost a bit of petal there, but it's got this lovely soft orange tone in the centre of those actual big flowers on this. Potentilla megalantha, a really super one, and giving you that bit of warmth and that little bit of yellow. Now, if you don't like the strong yellows, you can have something which is slightly less strong and go for a Baptisia. Baptisia Carolina Moonlight. Look at these beautiful soft coloured creamy yellow flowers on this. Reminiscent of a lupin, but they aren't, and they don't get the problems that lupin get. They aren't as hungry, they don't need quite as much water, they don't get the aphid and mess on them, and they don't tend to get eaten by the slugs and snails. So they are a good plant. They stay as really good tight clumps and then go up. This one will get to probably about 2 feet, so that is 60 centimetres, and round the base here only about 30 centimetres or a foot. And as they mature, so you get masses more stems. So next year, this will have double the amount of stems. Not only do you get the flowers on the top here, these side branches will flower as well. These flowers won't be as big as the first ones, but it gives you an idea of how much is there. And the backs of the buds here is a lovely blue tone, so it gives you a set off colour. So it's a sort of slaty blue, really super thing. So that is Baptisia Carolina Moonlight. Those are all of our yellows. I just do them like that. You can see that's such a lovely, warm, soft collection of yellows. Let's see what else there is that is looking good at this time. You've got the globe flowers. Now this one is Trollius Helios. This is one of the cultivated forms of these beautiful globe flowers. They hold their flowers really round like this, and then they will open a little bit, and they have fabulous anthers and stamens in there which are yellow and darker orange. Good foliage which looks a little bit like a buttercup, because basically what they are is a giant buttercup. So they want moistish soil, so they're very good around bog gardens or somewhere where you've got really good organic matter in the soil, and they'll grow really well. But look at it, isn't it the most beautiful, just a completely different shape. A lot of the flowers we've seen so far are open and hold. These ones are these wonderful globes, so it gives you a completely different contrast. They come up on lovely long stems like this. This is just a young plant in the garden, and at its maximum height it's going to be just under 2 feet, so somewhere around about 50-55 centimetres flowering, and then as a spread somewhere around just over a foot, so say 40 centimetres spread at the base, making a lovely mound of dark green foliage. So this is Trollius Helios, really beautiful form. And then we can change from those sorts of plants to things which have got more red tones to them. So you have this fabulous thistle, for instance. So again, another different shape, but a good, bright, warm colour. This is Cirsium rivulare Atropurpureum. So very much thistle foliage at the bottom. It's not too spiky. This will make a big mound. Strong stems going up to these fabulous thistles. Absolutely adored by the bees. They just get drunk on the nectar, and you see them hanging upside down asleep on these thistle heads. So it is wonderful as an attractant. These flowers will go up to nearly a metre high, 3 feet, and then the foliage will make a clump at the base here, probably about 2 feet, so that is 60 centimetres. But look at these, aren't these fabulous? And you've got this area, when they're bigger, it's not quite so see-through, but you have an upright form. They don't flop sideways, so that is also good. You've got this upright and all of the flowers sitting at the top here, so it's like little lights, purple lights at the top with green at the bottom. I love them. I think they're wonderful, and I quite often push them a little bit further forward in a border so you get to see these mixed with grasses, other herbaceous perennials. They look really good, and it is a lovely warm colour for this time of the year. Then something which is slightly different is the Viscaria. Now this is one of many of plants known as the sticky catchfly, because if you move your fingers up the flower stems, they suddenly get to a point where they are really, really sticky, and quite often you will see insects caught on these stems, so they are catching so that nothing is going to interfere with them. They have these fabulous round heads here, and they have multiple flowers within that, and so you will always get a huge amount of flower and bud at the same time, and they start this size and open up to this size. Really, really lovely things. They do produce quite a bit of seed. They are something which will sell seed around the place, but they make lovely big clumps as well, so they are divisible. Foliage goes upright like this with its strap-like foliage. The flowers come up through here. Viscaria asterias, it is a fabulous thing. Again, it's one of those ones which wants a little bit of moisture, and it will be very happy naturalised in grass and that sort of thing. But it does need a good amount of moist soil to keep it going and make it look good. It is a cracking plant. It's a lovely, soft, really warm colour. It's not quite a red, it's not a pink, and it has beautiful blue stamens, which then also contrast. When you actually look at the intricate flower pattern that is on there, it's wonderful. And some of these flowers are male totally, some of these flowers are female totally, all within the same cluster, so that when the pollinators go around, they can go from one to the other and it will self-pollinate, go through, or cross-pollinate, sorry, from one flower to the next flower, which is great. But that is a lovely different plant. Viscaria, they used to be Silene or Lichnus, Viscaria asterias. My last two have got similar rounded heads but are completely contrasting. We have got your Allium here. This is Allium Purple Sensation, doing exactly what bulb Alliums do. Now the reason I chose this was to show you they have put on foliage. They put up their flower stem. As they use all the energy to create this beautiful flower head, they draw the energy out of these leaves and it goes down to the bulb, so it can feed the flower and feed the bulb at the same time. These leaves looked beautiful probably about 3 weeks ago, just as the bud was starting to appear. Then as it came up, so the leaves do this. Now a lot of people get a bit disheartened and think there's something wrong with their bulbs. There isn't. This is the nature, this is how they grow, which is why you should always plant these behind something. You wouldn't necessarily plant it behind these, but if you plant it behind something with foliage, you hide those leaves. So I always say silver foliage like Artemisia or Heucheras or something like that, which will have their foliage here. You do not see the dying back foliage of your Alliums. If it really annoys you, do not cut them off. Just let them and try and just bend them down slightly and hide them underneath other foliage. That's the best thing. They need this for that to feed the bulb, so that the bulb will give you flower next year. If you go and cut all this off, you don't get that food going into the bulb and you won't have flower the following season. So this is Purple Sensation, a beautiful form. It looks stunning. You do need a lot of bulbs to create a thing, so get a few, get a clump going, start again, get a clump going. That's the easiest way to do those. The last one is a Primula. This is a candelabra type Primula. That means that they come up, they have a flower rosette, they come up, they flower again, then another stem comes out of here, you have another ring of flower and up it goes. Probably 4 or 5 times it will do those flowerings up through to the top. This particular one is beesiana. It's a beautiful strong colour and it's a really good flower, so another completely different inflorescence on this. Makes a wonderful Primula base, typical Primula base. Again, they prefer Again, they prefer a dampish soil. It doesn't have to be absolutely soaking wet, but what it does need to be is it needs to be moisture retentive, so lots of organic matter in there. You see these regularly planted around ponds or along stream edges. They are superb and all sorts of colours, but the beesiana one with this beautiful pink is a stunning plant. I hope that's introduced you to some wonderful warm colours, bright colours, just to get a bit of sparkle into the gardens at this time of the year. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.